Hero FinCorp presents Young Turks, 14 years.
Mohan, let me start by asking you about how you see 2016 panning out. There's been a fair amount of correction, there's been some consolidation in the market, but do you see an even more significant shakeout in the Indian startup ecosystem? Are fears of a collapse perhaps exaggerated at this point in time? How does 2016 look to you?
Well, one thing is sure, investors are getting more discerning. They're asking questions like, do you have cash flows? Are you viable? They never ask this question. They're flinging money. So it's going to get tough to get money. And the message going out to startups is, guys, focus on the fundamentals of business. Don't throw up money. There is no big daddy funding you. Even Masa may not fund you that kind of money that's required. So be very careful. And we're going to see many smaller companies shut down. We're going to see some people get laid off. That's part of the game. We've been to the last 5 years of a hyper-local activity. The next 2 years are going to be a year of consolidation. Money will come in. The money will be more discerning, and people are going to understand that they've got to have real businesses. Everything is not going to be fling and spend. It's not going to happen that way. They're going to cut costs, tighten their belts, work harder, and do it happen. But there's not going to be a collapse. There's not going to be a disaster. I think there's going to be more discernment, and I think overall, the number of startups will be coming on, more bootstrapping. They'll work with very much less, but innovation will go on. It is taken off, but funding is going to be a constraint.
And Sharad, as we discussed, a lot of what we've talked about is probably going to have to make its way into the budget when the finance minister presents it. What would the key priorities be for you? We've got a long checklist, but if he needed to focus on 2 or 3 things that have to be done in this particular budget, what would you like them to prioritize?
So clearly we have number of items that are related with inward investments, right? And these are all RBI and Ministry of Finance related. They relate to capital gains tax, some of them relate to convertible notes. And you know, convertible notes is a very small but important bugbear for startups, right? Because that's the easiest way to raise money. They're very hard to do in the Indian context. And many startups just pack up their bags and redomicile just for convertible notes, right? It's a shame. It's a very silly thing to happen. But you know, those things are in my mind very important because they act as trigger points for startups to leave. So this is one set of stuff. The other set of stuff that is there as more M&As are happening, you know, how do you do tax treatment for the escrows that are created in M&As, and they're treated as income instead of being treated as capital gains, you know, and that usually is an amount big enough to force an entrepreneur to say, let me redomicile outside. You know, these are, you know, it's a bag of these simple things that are all doable. I mean, the beauty of this is that they're all doable, they're eminently sensible, and you know, and we got to therefore tackle and resolve them one by one. It's a guerrilla war. You know, it's not some big thing that you need. It's really making sure that you button down each of these things and make them happen.
Mohandas Pai, Sharad, Sharma, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us on Young Turks and taking us through what you made of the government Startup India plan. A lot of ground to cover, but at least the start has been made.
Hero FinCorp presents Young Turks, 14 years.